Hi, I'm Streaky and today I'm going to explain the difference between mixing and mastering, and especially what you should leave and what you shouldn't leave on your mix bus. So if you're new here, I'm Streaky. I've been a mastering engineer for the past 25 years, working on all kinds of stuff from totally amateur bedroom boys to top of the range, high flying international artists. So I've got a very good understanding on how things sound in various different environments and at various different levels. When it comes to mixing and mastering, what do I see most and how do I explain it? Now, mixing for me is all about getting the raw track or the basic mix and then taking that, looking at the way the instruments are sitting together, getting a feel for the track, getting a sound for the track to turn that basic song that's there, if it's a song or a hook or something, and getting that to a point where it's sounding like a record and sounding like a finished item. So that might mean like moving the instruments around, revocaling something, changing the dynamics of the individual instruments against each other, and also then having the whole sound together and how that gels and how that works at different points within the track to give impact and dynamics and feel and everything else that comes with all the basics of production. Now then, moving on to mastering. Mastering is more about looking at the whole veneer of the track and just seeing what's the tonal balance between it. Is it too bright? Is it too bassy? Can I make it tighter? Can I make it punchier? Can I make it snappier in the tops? Is it too tizzy? Is that going to come across well from a uploading point of view? How's it going to translate into the real world? If I'm doing an album, then it will be, how's that sitting against the other tracks within the album? How's that level? How's that sound? Is it commercially loud enough within the genre that it's in? Does it need other things? I'm not listening basically to the individual instruments and how they work out. I'm not interested in that at all. As a mastering engineer, it's more about the tone, the feel, and the level and where it's going. So how is it going to sound in those places? If it's going to vinyl, can I get that bass? Will I get that bass onto vinyl? Will I get those tops onto vinyl? Because vinyl's a tricky format. If it's going to CD or if it's going to a streaming service, how's it going to sound on iTunes with MFit software I've got? How's it going to... So they're all the kind of things you're looking at as a mastering engineer. It's kind of a QC process, and it's working with the mix engineer to understand where they're coming from and what they were trying to achieve. And ideally, you want to get it from the mix engineer and it sounds totally great, and you leave it flat or you just turn it up a little bit to get it up to a commercial level because the producer, mix engineer, hasn't done that. So coming on to how you should leave things for a mastering engineer, and I would say totally ignore the fact that it's going to a mastering engineer. This might be quite different to what you hear a lot and hear people saying, but personally, if I was a mix engineer, and there are a lot of the guys that I work with that are at the high end, should I say, they will give me mixes that sound finished to the point where I don't have to do anything to them at all. Obviously, my insides are screaming, telling me I should be doing something to them, but that's the battle you're fighting with yourself and your ego, and stop trying to put your own mark on as a mastering engineer. It's about, how's that sounding? Is it right? Is it, because that mix engineer spent a lot of time detailing out that sound. I'm not just going to come in and smash loads of bass on it and loads of top just for the hell of it. If I can help that bass, if I think, right, okay, I can see where he's going with that, and you can always tell instantly what sound somebody's going for. So easy, just because you get to know the sounds all the time. So then I think to myself, can I push that bass tighter? Can I get things sounding a little bit creamier in the high end? And is it loud enough? Can I push the level more? But really, as a mix engineer, I don't care if you've put a limiter on. I don't care on the 2 bus if it's got a compressor or an EQ. It's fine. If it's come to me and it's smashing the levels, if it sounds great, fine. Move on. Done. Let's go. Also, the main thing is that usually a limiter is the last plugin that anybody's going to put on their 2-bus after they've compressed and stuff, because that's kind of getting the level. You're going to push the level up with a limiter and take the top off, just because everybody has to present the track before mastering to an A&R guy. A lot of the time mix engineers do, so they need to get it to a level so that either an A&R guy or the artist or whoever's listening to it goes, okay, I get that. If somebody does ask for it without the limiter on, it's very easy just to take that off. But then also the mastering engineer's got a reference of how the mix sounded with the limiter on, if the engineer can send that as well. Something to work against, something to go, okay, I can see where you were going, but I reckon I can take it like an extra 20% more than you've got. A lot of the times I like that because it gives me something to go, wow, let me try and impress you with something else. But sometimes the label might say, okay, well, we like the mastered version, but we like that, you know, the rawness of the mixing engineer's take. So I think it's a good thing. Do whatever you want, basically. Just get it sounding the best you can possibly get it sounding. Don't leave it to mastering. Don't leave it to mixing. Don't leave it to recording. Get everything done at every step of the way the best you possibly can, and then you're in a great position, because if you're compromising all the way through and having to go backwards, it's not going to help the sound at all. It's not going to help the track. So it's about working on the arrangement the best you can at that point, not leaving that till you're recording it. Recording it, getting the best sounds you possibly can, and then getting it to a mix stage where you already know that where it's recorded it sounds great already, so you get it up to 0 and you're just doing final tweaks and the sounds are all really good and they're sitting well together. Then it comes to mastering and it's already, the mix has been pushed and it's there and it's how they want it to sound, and then I'm just like, okay, fine, I'll just put maybe a touch of top on because I think you're maybe a little bit dull. You might just need, I don't know, 1 dB at 24K, for example, just to give a little bit of air, and you know, or it might just need like a little bit of stereo width or just a few dB more on the limiter, just to sort of give it that kind of extra smack to make it sound good. And then how does that compare to the other tracks on the album that or EP that we're putting it on, and how does it sound when it's going for an MFIT for iTunes or Spotify or whatever? So that's really what you want to do. Best you can all the way through. Mastering, keep mastering and mixing very separate. Mastering should be done, if you're a mix engineer and you're thinking of mastering it yourself, do it a couple of days after or a day after, just so you're totally out of that mix zone and you're just listening to that rather than all those little bits and pieces. So thanks for watching. Please comment, please subscribe, ring that bell so that it will notify you of when I'm posting stuff. If you want me to master for you, there is a discount code below for getting this far in the video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, bye.